Dear viewers, to shed light about the efforts exerted by the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation to protect the Egyptian shores and the beaches from being submerged, we are very much delighted to have our dear guest in the studio, Mr. Engineer العربي القشاوي, Head of the Research and Study Sector at the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Qashawi. Now, first of all, let's try to get some answers. Why are the shores of some countries, including Egypt, are threatened with being submerged? Is it only global warming factor?
And the global warming, climate change, and sea level rise due to of this is main element of this. But also the coastal erosion is another challenge we have along our coast, especially along our Mediterranean coast.
Yeah.
The sediment already blocking at the south of Egypt, and this sediment, which were coming with the Nile flooding every year, will nourish our coast, especially in the delta region. Due to of this and due to of the storms, waves, and marine currents, already the shore eroded. And just to give an example about this, we can give the example at Rosetta branch, for example, at Rosetta promontory, more than 4.5 kilometers of shore already retreat. And at Damietta branch, at Damietta, about 2.6 kilometers along the last century. Yeah, the shore moved towards the land.
Yes.
So it's mean lost area of our coastal areas.
So how did the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation moved in order to prevent more repercussions and more retreat or to face the threat of the shores being submerged, especially in the delta?
Okay, if we talk about erosion, coastal erosion, yeah, from the year 1981, when the Shore Protection Authority was established already at that time, and till now, the authority, the Shore Protection Authority, already spent more than 5 billion Egyptian pounds to construct some protection measures along our coast. And to give some examples of this, if we talk about some important cities along our coast, like Ras al Barre city, we can imagine when we see the photos and videos about this, we can imagine about the situation before and after the protection measures. We talk about more than 3 keys of houses already completely collapsed before the year 1980. Nowadays, we talk about new land already. We have new land in the front of the city now. We have more than 100 meter beach wide, and the city completely safe nowadays. When we talk about the coastal flooding along our coast, especially our north coast, and especially in the delta region, we will talk about more than 100 kilometers of land, low land, and all this land are under the threat of coastal flooding due to the climate change and sea level rise. Nowadays, it's already flooded and covered by the seawater during the storms. But in the future, and with all scenarios of climate change and sea level rise, it will be completely lost. And this is, of course, yes, it's a kind of disaster, of course. Through this challenge, in fact, we have this, the ministry already made big efforts, in fact, to have a fund from Green Climate Fund. Fund about $31.4 million US. And through this fund, we will protect the most vulnerable 69 kilometers of low-lying land along our delta. This project, in fact, is very important for us because one of the output of this project is to protect the most vulnerable 69 kilometers of low-lying land along our coast. And the other output is very important for us also, which is the Integrated Coastal Zone Management Plan along our northern coast from the eastern border to the western border.
Okay, does this include a project in Matruh, which is underway now?
Yes, in fact, we have projects at Matruh nowadays. We already have a project to protect El Ubaid area, and we have a project to protect and develop the Gulf area of Matruh in front of Matruh city itself. Beside of this, we have in our plan some projects also to complete the protection plan in Matruh. In fact, in the few 5 or 6 years, Matruh coast will be completely protected. But in some other governorates like Bursaid, Damietta, Dakahliya, Kafr al-Sheikh and Bihira, we have this 69 kilometer which is under the threats of coastal flooding. And through our project, this area will be completely protected.
Yes. Dr. Qashawi, what about the shores of Alexandria and Qait Bay citadel? How we are going to protect them?
In fact, we have a project nowadays under the construction to protect the Qait Bay citadel.
Because it's already in the sea.
Yes,
so
yes. And in fact, this project is to protect by a type of breakwater. And this will give the chance for us to have a water area, very calm water area, in front of the citadel. This will save the citadel, Qait Bay citadel, and also will give us in the near future to have the chance to have a kind of underwater museum. If we can handle something like this, and this will be very important to have
to watch the
monuments under the water. In fact, yes.
Submerged.
Yes, and also in Alexandria, in fact, we have a number of projects. The main target of this project is to make a kind of beaches restore. Through this project, in fact, we will have new beaches in front of Alexandria Corniche, which was already lost through the last years because of the widening of Alexandria Corniche. We will restore all the beaches in front of Alexandria from Silsila to the east with about 4 kilometers and in front of Al-Mahrousa and Bir Masoud.
Okay. Sir, could you please shed more light on the role of the Green Atmosphere Fund?
Yeah, in fact, this fund, I talk about it, it's about 31.4 million US dollars. And through this project, which it will take about 7 years from now, the project already began, and the first phases of the project to protect the low-lying areas at Kafr al-Sheikh Governorate, for example, already these 2 projects already begin now. And through the 7 years, we will completely protect the most vulnerable 69 kilometers along our delta coast. And also we will have this integrated coastal zone management plan to control all the coast of the Mediterranean, and also to control the land uses just to protect our natural resources in our coastal area. And the third output, and it's very important also, is to have a type of national observation system and early warning system. And this, of course, will give us the chance and will give the decision maker the chance to have his decision to be affected for the protection of our coastal areas.
Yes, indeed. Sir, how can the rationalization of usage of water help in dealing with the repercussions of the climate change?
How can?
The rationalization of water usage.
Of the water usage?
Yes.
Yeah. For this, in fact, we will talk about first. We'll talk about rains and flooding coming from the mountains. This is a very important also water resources for us, especially in these days. The water coming from rains in Egypt is about 1.3 billion cubic meter every year. Some organizations talk about a very big number comparing with this, but this information was not correct at all.
Yes, of course.
And the ministry already corrected this number. The flooding, the water from the rains is about 1.3 billion cubic meter only. And the ministry already have number of projects to control this water and to use it in the agriculture and the domestic areas also use it. And the rest of this quantity already go to our groundwater. And this is also a very important water resource for us, the groundwater. In fact, some of this flooding goes directly to the sea, and the water goes to the sea with some of the boulders and sand, and this also nourish some areas along our coast, especially in the Red Sea. In the Red Sea, we can notice this because through these streams of the flooding, we can have a look on the beach, and this is a kind of sediments along the coast. Yes.
Sir, how can we increase the rate of recycling water? Now, I understand that some factories have already applied this system of recycling water. For example, the water used in cooling inside the factory, they are reuse in a certain way.
Yes.
Would that help?
Yes, of course, this helps a lot in to reach our water resources. And to give example for this, the gas factories west of Bursaid city, they are going to construct a treatment plant just to recycle the water again in the factories. So they will have this semi-closed circle for the water usage in these factories. And also the water coming from the drains, our drains, Bahr al-Bakar drains, for example, we talk about 5 million cubic meter every day, dumping directly to the Manzala Lake, with no usage for this quantity. We will take this quantity and take it to the east of Suez Canal, and we will construct a huge treatment plant, and we will reuse this quantity again. Like this, we increase our water resources, and we need this very much, of course. In fact, the ministry nowadays already recycles water coming from the drains, sometimes recycles water more than one time even, just to increase our water resources, because we need this very much nowadays, and we will need it more in the near future.
Yes. Sir, the solving of the problem of water shortage could be solved also by using the water desalination, because we are looking over two seas, of course, the Mediterranean and the Red Sea. So how can we use that in order to solve the issue of water?
Yes, this also is a type of our water resources, in fact. Along our Red Sea, for example, the majority of tourism areas, in fact, they have this water desalination plant in their areas.
Yes.
They don't use our water coming from River Nile, for example, and also along our Mediterranean Sea.
Yes.
The government and some also investments along the coast already going to construct number of desalination water desalination stations along our coast. In fact, we have nowadays, in fact, and at SPA, at Shore Protection Authority, we have a Supreme Committee at the Ministry. We have a Supreme Committee to give the permission.
Do you with these resorts or these installations in order to create or to establish these plants in order to solve the issue of water?
Yes, exactly. In fact, we have numbers along our northern coast and along our Red Sea coast also. Just to give you an example, we have one big plant to the east of Suez Canal nowadays already. They take permission from the ministry to be constructed. It's under construction now. We have another one west of Bursaid. We have, in fact, tens of plants for water desalination from the Mediterranean, along the Mediterranean coast. And we have more than tens of this seawater desalination plant along the Red Sea. This is a very important element for our water resources, in fact, and this helps a lot to save our water coming from the River Nile.
How do you see the issue of raising awareness, sir, when it comes to rationalizing the usage of water, raising awareness when it comes to the practices that would actually affect our shores and our water resources? What would be the role of the media in such regard?
Yeah, okay. Already the ministry have its plan already nowadays, and we can see a part of this plan in our television, for example, and also through workshop already conducted along especially along the coastal cities like Bursaid, Damietta, Alexandria, and so on. In fact, one of the output, and it's very important from the new project to save our coastal areas, the GCF fund, Green Climate Fund, in fact, this will include also a number of workshops to increase the awareness for the people related to the climate change and related to the water usage also.
Okay. Sir, of course, the water is the real essence of life.
Yes.
So how can we increase the awareness of the people as well, not to pollute the River Nile and not to pollute the seas as well, because we are using this water for creating life, for plantation, for agriculture, for many purposes. So how can we increase the awareness and do different campaigns in order to reach that?
Yeah, in fact, through the media, already the Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation work and already made a big effort in this. But I think we need also to increase this even in our schools. I think we need to add something in our schools just to increase the awareness for our students and our even pupils in the primary stage, yes. And also through this kind of contaction between the people working in this field, the water field, and the local communities along our governorates. I think a big plan, and the ministry already work on this. And also we have this arrangement even with Al Azhar, for example, to have this kind of awareness through our imams, our mosques, and also we need to increase even this with our church, for example. I think a big plan must be done. The ministry already work on it now, and we need to complete it.
Do the ministry impose punitive measures on the people who are throwing waste and polluting the river Nile and the seas, Mr. Qashawi?
Yes, we have already laws and rules for this, and in fact, if anyone makes something like this, dumping any of sewage water to our streams, river Nile, or even canals. Yeah, according to the law, there is
it is applied.
Yes, of course. Yes, it's applied.
Punitive measures.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Well, Professor Mr. العربي القشاوي, Head of Research and Study Sector, Ministry of Water Resources and Irrigation. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. And now our viewers will go to a short break, and after that we'll be back to resume the segments of the breakfast show. So stay tuned.